Okay, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. My name is Helen Fisahaya, and thank you for joining us for the LEA informational session. Today we have with us a wonderful speaker, Adebayo Aderohunmu, and he is going to talk about career planning. But before we do that, we just wanted to introduce what LEA is and who we are as a program. And if you plan on applying, what does that look like and how can you stand out and be competitive in the program? So let me just quickly introduce, for those who don't know who we are, a little bit about who we are. All right, so just give me 1 second and I'm going to share my slide. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, great. So my name is Helen Fataya. I am the CEO and founder of F3 Global Advisory Group. We are a US-based firm. We are a US-based firm, and we primarily focus on developing capacity and then market entry. So we support corporations, investors, and associations as they look to grow, scale, build strategic plan, grow their internal team, and then scale. Typically, that's what we've spent most of our 11 years of business doing, is helping businesses scale and enter foreign markets. As a result of that, we've been in Africa for at least 10, 11 years as a marketplace. We're based out of the US, so we have offices in DC, LA, and then we have a team out in Nairobi. What we love doing is we are a company that really looks at how can we add value in any marketplace that we participate in. And so we started in Dota Amara. And Dota Amara is a organization and initiative mainly focused on the creative ecosystem. So last year we did in Dota Amara Creative Week, where we brought US diaspora and UK diaspora, or UK creatives who've been pioneers and industry leaders across the creative marketplace, to Nairobi for a week-long program. In that week-long program, we partnered with over 25 different organizations locally across Kenya. And in that week, we focused on doing different things like master classes, networking, really understanding what is the business side of the creative ecosystem. So that was a major success. And as we continue to grow, what we're building out is 4 program areas. So we have what's called entertainment tours. We have a creator to creator podcast that's coming out in October. So be on the lookout for that. And then lessons in action, which is what you guys are taking part in today, as well as master classes and learning sessions. So a little bit about our entertainment tour. So we brought delegation, and as a company overall, we've been taking international delegations of investors and other organizations to the continent for a number of years. So this year we're doing 2 tours. One is in November to Kenya, and this is for film creators. And the second will be a music tour to Kenya and Ethiopia. So if you're on here and you're interested in coming, please feel free to reach out to our team and figure out what does that look like. One of the things that we're excited to do is actually our creator to creator podcast. We actually recorded our first podcast last year in Nairobi, where we brought different creatives. And so we had a Kenyan podcasting group that's one of the largest in sports podcasting connect with the American and European podcast organization that's also pretty large. And they just really had a chance to sit down and talk about what does it look like to build cross-border voices, what does it look like to experience what they've experienced and how they built themselves up, the trials, the tribulations, the tears, but also the glorious moments. And it was a really great experience. We're going to bring that to 2026. So make sure you guys pay attention to that. And then Liam. So our Lessons in Action program is really meant to serve young creators who are looking for different opportunities for mentorship or shadowing and internships, right? So it is competitive. There is a link we will share in the chat if you'd like to apply. Our deadline, our first priority deadline, is August 31st. We are extending it to the end of September for those who are kind of like later applicants. And then it goes on a rolling basis. So we review your request. And if we think that you're a really great fit, then we will match you with someone either local or international to serve in these capacity. So that's what LEA is about. I'll get into a little bit more about how to be competitive in the LEA program. And lastly, our master classes and learning sessions. So we earlier in the year, or a couple months ago actually, we did a three-part master class for um, AI for creators. And so we did 2 full hours each time. So we spent over 6 hours going deep into learning AI, answering all your questions, and that was a success. So you'll be seeing us do more master classes on film and tech, fashion and tech, distribution, IP and piracy, investments, planning, and plenty more. We are mainly focused on the business side of being a creator. So I think you guys do really well in being the creator. But what we like to focus on is how do you actually build the infrastructure, the systems, the knowledge to ensure that you are monetizing, that you're growing, that you're scaling, and that you're successful. So, as an organization, we're not really about just events. We're really built around an ecosystem internally. And our job and our goal is to really support the ecosystem on the continent. So, it has all of the resources, both investment, the knowledge resources, and the market connections that it needs to grow into the next greatest place for creators and for business leaders, honestly. So that's who we are. We're happy to answer any questions about who F3 Global is or Indota Amara Initiative. We'll share this presentation with you guys post this session. And if you have any questions, feel free to just save that towards the end and we'll answer those questions for you. For those who are really interested in joining the LEA program, so Mary's going to put the form in here. And it's a quick form. There is a lot of questions in there. We do want to understand who you are, what you're looking for, what you are trying to do, and how you're trying to do it. So we are able to see, are we able to match you with a really great and qualified organization? And B, do we have an existing fit for you? It is on a rolling basis. So as we have hosts and mentors, that's when we do the matching. It is competitive. So just for our own internship, we had, I was just telling someone, less than 2 weeks, and we had over, I don't know, like 60, 70 applicants. So, we do filter, we take the time to read every single thing. If we need clarifications, we do actually reach out and ask for them. So let me just share really quickly about the LEA program and how to stand out, right? So if you're going to apply for our program, it is free. So there's no fees associated to it. If somebody's charging you, it's not us. We're not going to charge you a fee to apply. We're not going to charge you a fee to be connected. And the person we connect you to will not be charging you anything as well. And we will make that clear to them. So it is a free program, especially for those who are applying. What we really want to help you do is we want to do two things. On the one hand, it's a placement pathway, right? We place you into a internship, and I'll explain what that looks like, or into a shadowing experience, or into an internship experience. On the second hand, what you have today is a learning session. The learning session is we pull from our network and we pull some of the best and the brightest HR and career professionals like Adebayo to come here and share all of their personal insights. So they know the in and outs of what these companies, whether they are startups, ventures, large corporations, what they're looking for, how they function, what the culture looks like, how the hiring process is, what is the right career path, how do you build in retrospect. And so we asked them to get on here and share their knowledge with you. We know it's a global marketplace nowadays and it's really competitive. And we want you to have as much knowledge and as much resources as possible. So that is what is our learning sessions about. So we'll be doing them almost every 2 weeks, bringing different professionals. Today, we've been blessed to have Adebayo with us, and he'll be going through his presentation, and you'll have a chance at the end to ask him all the questions your heart's desires. But just to tell you a little bit more about the LEA, we have 3 pathways, right? So the job shadowing experience. Job shadowing is in person only. That means we match you with somebody in your marketplace. So if you are in Tanzania, we will match you with someone in Tanzania. If you're in Kenya, whatever country you're in, we will match you with someone that is close by so you can actually attend events, go to their office, kind of shadow them. Like, what does it mean to be a musician? What does it mean to be a CEO of a music company? What does it mean to be a film producer, right? You get this kind of like behind closed doors, all access to them. And that is 3 weeks. Then we have our mentorship. Our mentorship is either in person or virtual. So we connect you to someone that addresses or can help address one of the challenges that you have identified in your form. In the application, we ask you, are you working on something? Is there something specific you need mentoring around? And so we look for the industry, the insights, and the coaching. That's what you're going to get from this person. If it's virtual, you obviously will meet with them virtual. If it's in person, you'll have a mix of in person and virtual. So it is 6 weeks. We do check in with you within that 3 weeks, within that 6 weeks to make sure that your connection is working, it's the right person, and that if you have any challenges with them or they have challenges with you, we can address them immediately. And then last part is our internship placement. Our internship placement is very competitive because there's not that many internships available. We place you with organizations that are either in person or virtual. For those who are like, do I get paid? That depends on the organization. So we're the placement pathway. We don't actually pay for this. We are working with a few institutions who may be paying. And we're also trying to find ways to offset some of those costs. But these internships are very competitive. They're with really great companies who've grown, who've scaled, who have really big name recognition. So you are in the right hands and you are going to get a lot of real firsthand experience. So what do you get as a participant, right? If you apply and you actually get into our program and you're matched, obviously you're going to get practical workplace experience. You're going to get that connection between leaders and professional skills. And for those who do make it into the leader program, on top of our learning sessions, we have additional sessions that we do specifically for those in the program to make sure that all of the things that you're working through get the resources it needs. If you're looking to speak to somebody specific or dealing with technical, you can reach out to our team and we try to connect you to someone in our network. Of course, you get a regional and international network of people, so we connect you to all the other LEA interns as well as all the other host organizations because we'll do a few sessions together. You'll become I think for me, I feel like you'll definitely be stronger in terms of like your employment pathway. And then of course, you're going to get the career guidance that you need. We do work really hard to get you to where you are trying to get at least, right? That's our goal. So how do we match? We look at first your goals and your interests to make sure that it's clear and we can understand where you're going. We look at the pathway fit. So if you are somebody on here is a filmmaker, if you're a filmmaker, you're working on a new project and what you would like is a more senior filmmaker who's made at least 2 or 3 movies, then we may connect you to somebody who's already made movies. They're on Netflix, they're on Hulu, wherever, right? So you can get that guidance. We look at location and format to see who's available on our hosting side and what format they're available in. And then, of course, and when I say what format, are they available in as a to do an internship? Are they available for mentoring? Are they available for shadowing? And then, of course, the host and mentor, we try to make sure that your personalities and everything else will match. We do really screen through your application, so please make sure that they are strong. If you have questions about it, ask us. Now, before you apply, you got to choose your pathway. You can't say, I want to do all of them. You do need to say, hey, I'm really looking to do mentoring, or I'd like to do, we may ask for like your secondary, but we try to match you with the first. And then get specific about the goal. When we ask you on the goal, there's a question about your goals. Be very specific. Just don't say, I just want to be mentored, right? That doesn't help us. But if you say, I am working on project X, I am struggling in this 3 areas, and I am looking for a mentor to help me unlock those 3 problems. That helps us a lot. And it also lets us know that you're working on something. And then write your own answers. Please don't, this is personal. So please make sure that, yes, you can use AI to support you. But if we feel like it's totally AI generated or very generic, it's not going to help you. What we're looking for is like your voice. We want to understand who you are, use it in your voice where, as much as possible. Obviously, use AI for grammar and edits, but speak in your voice so we can actually understand who you are. That's a big thing for us. Okay, in your application, please complete every field. If you don't complete fields, it automatically kicks you out. Show initiative, not just interest. Don't just tell us you're interested, but like what are you working on, like I said. Proofread before you submit, especially your resumes. We'll do another session in the future on like resume building, but please proofread everything. Have someone else proofread it for you, put it through some sort of tool online to help you get that piece of it. So timeline, August 31st is the priority timeline. We are going to allow other folks to, because we've been getting a lot of requests for additional time, because some people are just now hearing about it. So we'll do a final deadline, September 30th, and then the next iteration doesn't start till, applications won't start till January 1st. So to be part of the first cohort, it's important that you try to get your application in as soon as possible. And if you have any questions for us, we're here. We're happy to help you. We're happy to answer any questions. You'll get this form. You'll get a follow-up with the link. And yeah, so that's all we have on our end. So on to the main act, right? So with us today, we have Adebayo, who is such a great person to talk to, because I think he's a very open person. I've known him for a while. We've done a couple of different projects and programs together. So it's a blessing that he said yes to joining us today. So Adebayo is probably one of the more seasoned and I would say global talent and acquisition managers. He's also really helped a lot of companies scale their businesses in terms of their teams, not just locally across the continent. So he's worked on the hiring side for some of the biggest unicorns on the continent, like companies like LemFi, as well as Exxon internationally. Right now, he's in the UK working for Verto. And I think he has a better idea of all of the things that he's accomplished more than I do. So I'm going to let him take it away to do his presentation. And of course, we'll make time for you guys to ask him any questions that you have. So please pay attention and give him the respect and the time that he has. So thank you, Adebayo. It's on you.
Thank you so much, Ellen, and thank you so much for that initial brief. Yeah, of course it leads into my presentation. Yeah, and I particularly love that. Hi everyone, good evening. And I guess it's evening across most of the time zones we are in. Yeah, maybe except for Helen, right? Uh, right. But then pretty much good evening. Thank you so much. Hope work today was good, right? For those of us that had some time at work. And if you are still at work, please, all my wishes to you. Of course, it's really my pleasure being here today. Thanks so much, Ellen, for the invite, right? It's been a pleasure being here today to share like my mind with you, also answer questions you may have, generally just to chat. I want us to also have some sort of very like engaging back and forth session. Yeah. So please, if it would be good if you could, you might not be able to switch on your camera, but once in a while, it could be good to hear you speak. Yeah. Or if you are not able to use your mic, maybe have some comments in the chat box. So cool. On that note, I will ably share my screen, and just as I'm doing about now. And essentially, I was given a matching order, yeah, to present on career development and planning, right? And when I saw it, I also saw it in light of I know what from what Ellen also mentioned earlier, the larger purpose of this program, right, is directed towards creatives, your people with working within the creative industry. And but I also know some of us don't play in that field, right? Some of us play in fields other than that. So I'll be a bit as specific and also as general as possible, right? But it also be good if you have questions outside of creativity, please, outside of the creative industry, right? Please lay it on us, right? It'd be good to hear you a lot. But then it's also largely the same principles that work across board, whether in creative, in financial services, in manufacturing. Yeah, it's largely the same underlying principle. So I will start. Yeah. Uh so that we may get to our dinner as fast as possible. Um, yeah. The theme actually is career development and planning, and that's what our discussion is around. And by the way, if you have any question as I'm speaking, please, I think you can share it in the chat box. Yeah. If I don't see the questions, please, Ellen, and please you can draw me to it, right? Or you can also raise up your hand. If you have any questions at all, I'll be able to hear you. Uh, so designing the career that you want. Right. And I think this is a very good question when you talk about designing the career that you want. And I think something I also need to put out there is that at times a career is not just you working within an employment scope. Yeah. A career also could be you doing a business, you understand? Maybe you want to run your own production company, yeah. You want to run your own creative studio, right? Whatever that looks like for you as the kind of career, the kind of professional life you want to build for yourself, right? And we'll generally have sessions to talk generally about this. Yeah. Of course, my name, as Ellie mentioned, I'm Adebayo Aderohunmu. But I thought to start with a very important question. Yeah. That is important for all of us. I think someone mentioned a long-term goal, right? But then let's start with a 3-year goal as a possible long or short-term goal. Yeah. Where do you want to be in the next 3 years? Right. Of course, in this wise, I'm not talking about family wise. Yeah, maybe you want to get married and have 6 children in the next 3 years, right? But then, most importantly, your career wise, where do you see yourself in the next 3 years? It would be good to have maybe some random people in-house that can give us some responses. Yeah. Uh, it could be as detailed and also as precise as possible. Yeah. Um, any who wants to give it a shot? Anybody willing to give a shot? Come
Mary.
on.
Yes. So yes, I would like to give a shot. So where I see myself in the next 3 years, I wouldn't say working at Verto like Adebayo, but I would say I see myself as a senior analyst at a company, be it F3 Global, the senior analyst, or yes, or a finance analyst, a senior finance analyst. So where I see myself in the next 3 years.
Super. That's a good place to start. Thanks so much for that, Mary. Yeah. So you see yourself as a senior finance analyst in a reputable company, if I'm help you also put it forward, in a reputable company in the next 3 years. That's a good one. Uh, who else wants to go? Yes, run away.
Yeah, I can answer as well. Where do I
Yeah.
want to be in 3 years? I have a long-term goal of being a business owner. I don't quite have the
Mm-hmm.
specifics yet, but in 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
I want to have start building something of my own. Something that's interesting to me so far is content creation. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to have started and at least built for myself in 3 years. I want to have built a
Yes.
brand.
Yeah, super. That's a good one, Ray. And thanks so much for that. In 3 years, you want to have started building your own business, yeah? Particularly your interest right now, as you have judged it, is around content creation, yeah? And how that business will look like. You are not too sure yet, but then you have that goal, right? Thanks so much for that, Ray. Mwende, hope I pronounced that well.
Yes, you did. Thank you. I do see myself in 3 years from now having built structures and systems in my current business because I'm a
Mm-hmm.
creative. I'm a creative currently building a company. I
Mm-hmm.
do see myself having built structures and systems that the business can run without me
Mm-hmm.
being there, while also having progressed in my professional educational career as a strategic comms and project management professional for an international company.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
that's where I do see
Which is
myself years from now.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much for that. So you mentioned that in 3 years you want to have built structures, yeah, processes in your current business. You understand, right? So the business can
Yeah.
run with little of your own input, right? Uh,
Yes.
yeah. Which particular business do you do?
Oh, I am currently building a personal styling and
Oh,
style education studio. Yeah.
oh, that's cool. Personal styling and style education, yeah.
Yes.
So that's a business within the fashion industry, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
While
within the
it's
fashion,
also
yeah,
next
fashion
to
and
your
beauty.
professional development.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for that. And I think the last person I will do is Jemima. Yeah. Hi, Jemima. Thanks so much for
Hi.
coming. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, even just to be able to speak, and for taking
Mhm.
time out of your day to be here to mentor us and take us through this. When I see this question, sometimes I don't have a full picture of what it is, but while hearing other people speak about what they want and reflecting a bit about what I want for myself, I'm more in the HR and psychology space. So
Mhm.
I think in the next 3 years, I want to be in a position of influence where we change how people think of HR and how systems run within HR. Because you enter an organization and you find everyone is afraid to speak to HR or everyone is running away from HR, yet HR is supposed to be a safe space for everyone. It should be this first point of contact, basically. But there's so much, maybe not unnecessary because we all have our different views and experiences, but more of very far-fetched ideologies about HR and how they are tarnishing people's names or how they're not useful within companies. So bring about that change and being in a place of impact to assist even our current generation to be able to, once they enter whether whichever workspaces they are or in places where they can also put in influence, that they find spaces where they're able to communicate with their HR properly, but also to also bring more of the psychological aspect into HR, not just seeing HR as it used to be or is currently is, but bring new change into HR, into a developmental perspective and into ways that also include psychology as a study. So that's what I'd say for the next 3 years. It's not pen to paper, but it's just an idea of what I think I'd want to see in myself in the next 3 years.
Yeah, and I think you've shared well, Jemima. Yeah. Uh, and thanks so much for that. And I love the what you started with, that you don't have a full picture yet. You understand? That's a good place to that's a good thing to understand and to recognize. Yeah. But then is that I can imagine for the rest of us, right? When we thought about this, it could have been such a difficult thing to place, oh, where do I want to be in 3 years? You understand? Uh the question is typically a very hard question. It requires a lot of reflection, a lot of courage on putting your hands on what I want to do. It also requires a lot of like understanding of self, yeah, where you are, what you've been before, and also where you are going. And it's also fine if you don't have a full picture yet, but then I hope by the end of this discussion, you either have a full picture of it or you go back into your privacy to rethink and have some good definitive picture of what it looks like, right? It's also good to say that that thing you have within yourself as what you want to be in 3 years, you should also be in a way be open to flexibility, yeah, in that as things change, you are also changing. I could say is a malleable vision or is a malleable goal, right? It's a goal notwithstanding. But I say this particularly because I know that most of us, as I learn, we are either just starting our careers, just starting our businesses, yeah. And because of that, you need to be very open to changes. You need to be very agile on your feet. Be, I think I'm already running ahead of myself. So I'll go ahead. Yeah. So, of course, a bit about myself. I think Elena said a lot. I may not need to add anything at all. But then is that I've been very chanced and lucky to, I could say graced, yeah. I'm a religious person. To have worked in some of the very known startups. Yeah, I've happened to have worked a lot in tech within the technology space, particularly either in Africa or Africa like biased companies, right? But then for my undergraduate, I studied sociology and anthropology in a university in Nigeria called Obafemi University in Ile-Ife. And then from that, I had a general vision that I wanted to do HR. Yeah, just like Jemima, I wanted to do HR. Yeah. Of course, a lot of that this is that I didn't have knowledge on what it looks like. Yeah, but then okay, I want to do HR. We did a little course in HR when I was in uni, and I was like, okay, while I don't have the experience yet, I could get a certification. Yeah. So I got a certification that took me about 2 years. It also meant because I self-financed myself for the certification, I in local parlance, I drank the gari. Yeah, in short, I suffered for it. Yeah, you understand. Just because I needed to get that certification because I was paying for it by myself. And I could actually tell you that me getting that certification got me my first internship role, because the difference, when you get the certification, before I got it, I applied for jobs related to HR. I didn't get any. And then I tell you no joke, I got that certification, and the first role I did the interview for, there's a way that I told them I had that certification, and I could see their face light up, right? Because it's a professional certification within Nigeria, right? Their face lit up, and it was like, oh, we've seen the candidate we are looking for. And from that space on, I didn't rest on my oars. I just get drumming on the gun, and eventually got to work in some of the startups that you see here. I'll talk about Money Point, which is pretty popular. Money Point, Stitch, LemFi, and where I am now, which is at Verto, right? And I think I could tell you a bit of my Verto story as we move along, right? A point of this also is that I've also danced along, right? Where what is possible, what is not possible. It has not been a very straight line career, but then it's been something around, okay, what I planned, and also how nimble I could move across board. So I think in following what we said, where you man, I actually need to move faster. Please, how many minutes do I have more? But then I know I need to move faster.
No, it's okay. Go
It-
ahead. I think people want to stay for this, so we
okay,
want to hear
cool.
it.
Thank you for that, right? I think one thing of note here is that you should not drift. By drifting, I mean you should not be as someone blinking your eyes in the dark. Yeah. You should not move around as someone who is doing anything at all, who is doing anything that falls on their lap. Or you typically, I don't know if you've had experience either speaking with people or speaking with your friends, you ask them, what kind of job do you want? They say anything. Yeah. Which kind of job do you want? Any job, anything I can do. No, that is not the way to do it, right? Because you understand that every choice you make, you are potentially adding to your portfolio, or you are adding to yourself, right? So it's great that in making that decision, you are making that decision deliberately, yeah. You are making that decision with an end in mind. So first of all is that don't drift. Don't take whatever shows up. Oh, this is any job. Yeah, don't do it at all, right? Don't just react, you understand? Don't just react to, maybe tomorrow they say there's a salesperson job somewhere, right? And then day after tomorrow there's a cashier job, yeah. Somewhere else there's some other job that does not have value to you. You understand, right? Again, is also you are also not taking a job that you are open. It is someone that said hope is not a strategy, right? You are not just hoping it will all add up, right? That is drifting. The most you can take is you design what you want at the end, right? And then in between, you are taking roles, opportunities, either jobs or opportunities that add value to you, that add value to your portfolio, that add value to your personality. Yeah. So first of all, in designing, you choose a direction. Right, you generally choose a direction. I love how Ray mentioned initially before all of us came in, right? That he's looking and he said he's not sure yet, yeah. But then he has a base factor. Yeah, Ray, hope you don't mind that I use you as an example. I just realized. uh yeah. Okay, let me go with Jemima. Yeah. Jemima rightly said that what she has in mind is HR. Yeah. She doesn't know rightly what the full end looks like, but she's looking to make an impact in HR. That's the direction. You understand? That's actually a direction. And since she has now chosen that direction, is to plan. When you have an end in mind, you cannot plan backwards. Yeah. It's like backward integration. Okay, if I am going to Z, yeah, then I need to work. How do I get from Z from A? It means I will now plot my graph from A to Z. So that is what you will do in designing your part. For instance, when I talk about myself, when I started my career, I knew I wanted to do HR. Yeah. To do HR, where I was then, when I started then, I knew without experience, I needed a certification. So I went back to A to get my certification. Yeah. And I really read and did a lot to get that certification. And eventually, when I got it, I was like, oh, this is where I am. Then after getting my HR job, I worked in a multinational company. Then I realized, oh, I want to I want to always work in multinational companies. That taste of a good thing that I had, I did not want it to stop, right? Then I had to part myself. How do I build up my profile, my connection to continue working in such a space? And that was, and of course, I did some steps continually to ensure that. Thirdly, yeah, it's built on purpose. And of course, you see purpose in something I said earlier, where I said I want to always work in multinationals, right? And I just ensured by positioning myself, by the kind of jobs I took, of course, it meant in between the lines, I got other job opportunities that were not multinational related. But I said no, because they don't look like where I was going, right? In between all this, by the way, if I may also add, I think I may be over jumping above myself, but notwithstanding, is that I also took a pay cut. Yeah. I actually took about a 50% pay cut, right? Because I had a job when I started. I had a job that was not looking like where I was going. Then I took a pay cut. And when I took that pay cut, it was to a job that will plant me into the direction that I wanted. And since taking that pay cut, of course, by year 2 of taking that pay cut, I times 4 my salary. Yeah. Just because I took that pay cut that could plant me very much firmly in the direction that I wanted, that I was designing for myself. So this is very important. As I mentioned on the footnote here, you can't control every opportunity that comes your way. Yeah. But you can control your direction and your next move. Do I take this opportunity? No. If it doesn't look like what I'm designing for myself, where I'm going. For instance, Jemima now. Uh, if Jemima, maybe if by tomorrow she sees a role in sales, but sales does not look like where she's going in HR. Should she take it? Depending on her strong conviction, and I believe she's strongly convinced that she wants to make an impact in HR, she will likely not take that role in sales because it's HR that she wants, and which also means she will do all she can to look out for opportunities in HR. So in building that career, like designing and building this career that we're talking about, four C's that I think are very important. First of all is clarity, right? Clarity in that, where am I going? Again, I mentioned this, that you don't need to get the full picture. You just need to get an intuition, yeah, an intuition, a motivation. This is where I'm going. Jemima is coming to mind a lot. Thanks so much, Jemima. Uh, is that she has some good clarity, and I could bet on yourself, right? And I can bet that clarity would have come from some level of exposure that she has opened herself to. Yeah. Whatever exposure, that's one of the reasons it's good to read. Go on LinkedIn. I myself and my small, no, she's not small. Myself and my cousin who just finished university. We fight a lot. And one of the reasons we fight is she does not go to LinkedIn as often as I want her to go to LinkedIn. She's not on LinkedIn as much as I want her to be on LinkedIn, because you are not on LinkedIn just to chit chat. Just the exposure LinkedIn offers you, particularly depending on either where you are staying, the things you might be exposed to might be very much limited in your very small locality. But LinkedIn offers you breadth of opportunity across the world. You know what is possible and what is obtainable. And of course, depending on your field, either you're an artist, yeah, go to galleries, go to wherever is possible, go to that place, that junction where you know that you can have access to a lot of works of people across the world. It gives you just access to dream and to go on. Yeah, I said you can't plan a route without a destination. Yeah. If I don't know what Z looks like, I can't part myself to Z. You understand, right? If I don't know, if for instance, I think within what we said, someone mentioned she wants to build a business. Yeah. She has likely pegged herself against other businesses outside there that are very successful, right? And then what she now needs to do is to part her way to how to get there, and that's her destination. Yeah. Again, direction beats a detailed 10-year plan, right? I think we have a general saying that direction beats speed. Yeah, direction actually beats speed in the fact that if I know where I'm going and I'm walking at the pace of a snail, I don't advise that. Yeah, and I'm walking at the pace of a snail, I'm better off than someone who is just running around. Yeah, running around endlessly, right? Because that person running around endlessly, they don't know where they are going. They may have gotten to where they are supposed to be and they did not know it, right? So please, it's good that you sit with yourself, possibly after this call, understand with a good understanding of yourself, a good understanding of your skill set, of your background, where exactly does it look like you want to do, right? I mentioned here, clarity is a decision, not a lightning bolt, right? That is, it's not speed, but it is a decision that this is what I want to do, yeah? And then you are making deliberate moves towards that, right? Pick a direction, yeah, as I mentioned there. Let me minimize this. Pick a direction and then adjust yourself along the way as you move along. Secondly, is your craft. Yeah. Your craft is your profession. Yeah. Jemama is an HR professional, right? Forgotten her name now. She is a businesswoman. She also wants to do content. Yeah. Ray also is looking to build a business in content creation, around content creation. Yeah. Uh, so having identified these things that you want to do, it now behoves on you to go deeply in. How do I become the best there is? How do I become the best thing after sliced bread in respect of this kind of field? Yeah. Learn a lot about it. Like learn a lot. Yeah. By learning a lot, it also means that learning a lot does not mean you are already experienced in it. It just means that peradventure you are attending an interview, you can just speak about it. Yeah. It also means that peradventure you're an artist, yeah. You know the different strokes, you understand? You know what to do. You are freestyling, you understand, yeah. I say this specialize first and then identify later. It's understandable. There's a funny debate we have that should I specialize, should I be a generalist first? It's it could work either ways, but then it's better, right, if you are largely known for HR, you understand? Or for instance, if within HR you are known as the talent acquisition person, it's a good thing, and you can just double down, right? For instance, myself, my first job, I was a talent acquisition professional, yeah. I was a recruiter, yeah. I recruited across a lot of places. My second job, I also did a lot of recruitment. But then within that second job, I was exposed a bit to other parts of HR. Yeah, but I still was largely doing recruitment, right? It's important that you are known as, for instance, if anybody wants to recruit in startups, I know that that's me. Yeah. But I'm not oblivious of other functions within HR. For instance, in HR as a function, you have payroll, learning and development, and the rest. I'm not oblivious of those particular functions because I've known about them. And largely, that is what they call the T-shaped professional. The T-shaped professional is a professional that is a specialist in one thing, but they are not ignorant of other areas that play in their field, right? So it means, for instance, a content creation now, right? Oh, this guy that's a content creator, yeah, he'll be very good in content creation, but then he'll also know a bit about videography, photography, social media management, yeah, other parts that relate to his field, yeah. even though he's very deeply knowledgeable in content creation. That is what I generally refer to as a T-shaped professional. So that person is both a specialist and a bit of a generalist, right? Now, which is very important to wear. But then the most important thing about this is that whatever craft you are doing, whatever craft you are known for, please go deeply in it, learn a lot about it, either at the early stages, at the later stages, learn a lot about it. The trends happening in your field that affect the job that you do. Thirdly, is connections. Yeah. Relationships make the world go round. You understand, right? That's it. Relationships make the world go round. Build relationships with people before you need them. And not that you want to use people, but because you cannot thrive alone. Like you can actually not thrive alone. You thrive in the context of people around you. So build relationships. And when we say build relationship with others, we make the mistake to think you are also just to build relationship with seniors, right? Seniors above you. No, not at all. The best people to actually build relationships with are your peers. And at times, they are the best people that also give you the best opportunities because they know what you can do. Particularly those of us where those of us that are creatives, right? When you have relationship with your peers, they can jump you on similar opportunities. You understand? Oh, I have a job I'm doing. I cannot do it alone. You come along, right? You understand? I have a job with another person that I don't have the space for. You understand? They can refer you because they know the kind of thing that you've done or what you've done before and what you can do. Yeah. So it's important that you build that genuine engagement with people. And I think something Ellen mentioned earlier, right? In when she mentioned the opportunity for mentorship, right? She said you should not just ask, oh, come and mentor me. Yeah. She asked, okay, I have this problem, I have this barrier that I need you to help me with. Be very constructive, you understand, in how you approach people that you want to connect with. And one thing I typically frown with is people that send a LinkedIn message and they just say I. Yeah, please don't be that person. Yeah, whether LinkedIn, whether Twitter, whether any platform at all. Don't say I and leave the person hanging to respond to you. You understand? Right. Say I, follow it up with a very value-laden message on what you want from them. You understand? Expecting that they will respond to you. And if they don't respond, respect it also. You understand? Because it's also not the head that wear the crown is not as easy, right? You understand? So it's very important, but notwithstanding, let your message come from a very genuine place and be very, very value-laden. And of course, programs like this, yeah, programs like this, right? They also help you to ramp up. Ramp up, I mean, in the people that you know, in a small community like this, you understand, where you know these people, this person does this. I can imagine. I may not be too sure whether there's a platform where this community is riding on, right? Uh, and you can easily reach out to people. You can easily also know people. And from these typical meetings that you have like this, you can also create connections and reach out to folks within this program. And it could be just a very good opportunity for you to grow together as professional colleagues, you understand, within your career. Last but not the least on my C is courage. Yeah. Courage to be very proactive. Don't wait for the perfect moment, you understand. Take the bull by the horn, right? Take the bull by the horn. There's a saying, if I remember, if I can paraphrase now, that the young man should go out to hunt. Yeah, yeah. When he goes out to hunt, if he kills something, it's good for him, and if he gets killed, it's good for him, right? But then, please, my prayer is not for you to get killed, but most importantly, go out for the hunt. Yeah, go out for the hunt. The hunt does not kill anybody typically, right? Yeah. Send that message. Apply before you feel ready. There's a sense of opportunities, yeah. Whatever that opportunity looks like, either a job, a fellowship, a scholarship, whatever that opportunity looks like, make the application, put that foot in. You understand? A small action beats a big plan. A small action beats a big plan. In companies, they typically revere people that are action than planning. Yeah, for instance, in my company, we say 50% done is better than 100% undone. Yeah, 50% done is better than 100% undone. Right. So whatever action you need to do, take that action, pick up that call. Which direction are the trends of your craft? And just market yourself and position yourself across. I made sure that I'll tell a story about my time at Verto. I'm working in Verto now. It's a cross-border payments company, right? And I could tell you that the way that I got this job, right, is because I sent a cold email to the CEO. You understand? I sent a cold email to the CEO, and well, here I am today, right? But then is that uh it was likely not the only cold email I sent, yeah. It was not the only job that I applied for, yeah. But then I can remember it was on a Thursday night, 10 p.m., and I felt there's a job out here. I think I'm qualified for it. I'd applied also through the typical medium, but then let me put an additional foot in, and I actually did that, and well, yeah, I am right. So, but then is that it's coincidentally is that the typical application process I did, I was rejected. Yeah. But the cold email I sent got me in. Yeah. So I say this to say, don't be I was shy sending that email. I will actually tell you. I didn't know the CEO from anywhere before then, right? I must also confess. So it wasn't as if it was my cousin or it was my brother or I had someone there, right? I can do this. Of course, is that a no will hurt me, yeah, but it doesn't take away anything from me, right? And I had that courage. I sent that email, and sometimes we are here. So whoever is that barrier, whoever is that influence decision maker where you want to be, don't be afraid to reach out. You understand? As much as I mentioned, it's value laden, right? It's value laden. There's a lot of deliberateness around what you've done. So I need to run, right? So first of all is what I say, your planning toolkit. You know, what we are working on is your career planning. Yeah. As I mentioned, what is that one line way you are going? You understand? Oh, this I want to create for this. You understand? And I think it's something we can do here. Whether in chat, yeah, or privately, maybe we could do it in chat, yeah. In 18 months or in 3 years, right? Or in whichever period, this is what I want to be known for. Yeah, it would be good to hear some bit from us, right? Uh, it's either a role, a level, it could be a body of work that you want to have done. Oh, in the next 18 months, I want to release my next album, right? In the next 18 months, I want to host a what's it called? A photo studio, yeah? In the next 16 months, I want to do this. In the next 18 months, I want to have gotten my ACCA certification. You understand what I mean? It's be glad to hear a bit from us. Please, anybody checking over the chat? Uh, oh, nice. Raymond, in the next 18 months, you ought to have made your cinema debut. I love that. I love that. I love that. And I'll be looking forward to that, right? Raymond Mwendwa. Yeah, that's cool. Who else wants to follow through? Come on, I'm expecting from us. I'm not alone on this call. Yeah. Okay, cool. I want to be known as a multifaceted A&R rep for creative. Oh, nice. Doing photography and networking. Oh, yeah, A&R. I love that. Yeah. That's artists and relations, right? That's a cool one. It's just a lot of money, yeah. Uh, I'm looking at you, Ali, as the next billionaire in this space. Who else wants to run? Yeah, you can speak. Who is that?
Oh, sorry, I just said crossing my fingers.
Yeah, of course, I trust you. Yeah. Uh, okay. In the absence of nobody yet, So I think I will also move on, right? But then it's good whether you put it on the chart, yeah, or you don't put it on the chart. It's good you are very creative, you understand? You are very clear on that thing that you want. Yeah, please hold on for me. Yeah, you are very creative on that thing that you want. You are as specific as possible. It doesn't mean that if you don't get to that stage within that particular timeline, you beat yourself up, yeah. But it generally creates a goal you are running toward. You understand? That's your destination, and then you can now plot towards it. It's like Google. It's like Google Map, right? When I put my house on Google Map or wherever I'm going on Google Map, it helps me to track from where I am, right? So for instance, I'm in Liverpool Street right now. I'm going to Romford, yeah. I put Romford on the map, and the map will map me how I will get to Romford. So that's what I would expect us to do with this, where you've known where you are going now. And having known where you are going and a particular timeline you've given yourself, then you can map yourself by taking deliberate actions headed to that place you mentioned you are going. So let's see. So map the gap, yeah. So what is the gap? The gap is between where I am currently and where I said that I'm going in 18 months, in 3 years, in 4 years, in 5 years, right? In 2 years' time, yeah. When I see that gap, I want to imagine, first of all, what are the skills that are missing in me currently that I need to achieve what I said I will achieve within those particular time? What do I need to learn? What do I need to have developed in myself? What certification do I need to have done? What exposure do I need to have? Do I need to have gone to music school? Do I need to have gone to cinema school? Yeah. Do I need to have gone to film school? Do I need to have gone to a photography school? What exactly do I need within that space? Yeah, that can get skill-wise. Of course, proof-wise is also the fact that for me to get to that stage, I also need a proof of work, right? Particularly because a couple of us work within the creative space, where a lot of what you do or what you've done before, the proof is in your portfolio. Yeah. And it's good that I can show myself in the little things. You understand? So before I can manage Davido, right? I need to have managed other people. Yeah. I could have mentioned artist name, but let me not say other artists are too small. Yeah. So I could before I what are small projects that I've done? Yeah. Small studio projects that I've done that can show that, before you can get to Z, you go through A, B, C, D. Yeah. I could show proof of A, B, C, D that I have built enough profile to achieve Z, right? And thirdly, here is networking. Who to know? Yeah, who to know. By who to know, it is who is in my circle, who can help me within that space. And coincidentally, here is in who to know is also the fact that who are those that have done things related to what I want to do. This is a very important thing where I can see people that, like for instance, within my space, I can go on LinkedIn. I can look at the head of talent acquisition in a company like Lovable. Yeah. And I look at their work and I see, oh, how this person got here. You understand? This kind of work that they've done. And I can start building up my profile to do that kind of work. Because in the future, I want to be an head of talent acquisition in a company like Lovable. Yeah. So I need to build up my profile by that, right? So for you also, you look at various people that, for instance, for Aile, hope I'm pronouncing your name well, please. My apologies if I'm not. I will look at prominent A&Rs, yeah, either within Nigeria or within Africa, that have managed very, very typical artists, like for instance, who is the A&R for Davido, yeah, or who is the A&R in Sony, yeah, who is the A&R for Spotify Nigeria or Spotify Africa, and I can look at what have they done, what did they do, which skill do they have that I can plug myself into. Of course, this will also mean which events are this kind of people going to. It means I will do all I can to be at those particular events. Yeah. Thirdly, because I need to want, of course, exposure. Yeah, I just mentioned events. Yeah. exposure. Where can I be seen? Where can I speak to this kind of people? Where can I put my face in their faces that, oh, I'm here, right? I'm here, right? These are just very important, where those gaps, you cannot block those gaps by these four actions. And of course, lastly, on the last toolkit here is also timelines, right? Timelines, very important, right? Between now and the next 90 days, what do I need to have done, right? Is timelines are pretty good. The same way we set alarms for ourselves, right? It's the same way okay, like for me, one of the things I typically do is that every year I need to have like I need to add a certification to myself, a certification and education, a training, yeah, related to my field. I do that at least every year. So it's important for you in the next 90 days. Which skill do I want to build? Which project? Take this as a KPI. You know, companies have KPIs, right? KPI, okay, like this is the KPI for myself for the next 90 days, quarter, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. The same way we should actually review ourselves, right? Take ourselves as a company. Q1, this is what I want to do. I want to write this certification. I want to build this studio. I want to take this particular project. Yeah. I want to do a photo walk, right? Q2, Q3, Q4, whatever that timeline looks like for you that you want to create for yourself, please ensure you are doing so. For some of us, it might be the fact that, oh, every 6 months, I'm reviewing my portfolio. Like that is every 6 months, I'm actually creating a new portfolio or reviewing what portfolio is for myself right now. Yeah. It's actually very important. Of course, these timelines could be very varied according to where we are within our careers. Now I'm actually wrapping up already. Is the fact that talent gets you noticed, you understand? Yeah, typically, if you put yourself out there. But what will get you the kind of career that you want eventually are the C's that I mentioned earlier: clarity, craft, connections, and courage. Yeah. And of course, the plan will get you where you are looking, where you are going. And I think one thing I've also mentioned across this is you should also be very malleable. Malleable to opportunities that give you value. Because for instance, right? Let's say Jemima said she wants to be an HR person, right? And then she sees an HR job, right? But then is that, let's say an HR opportunity does not come to her early enough, yeah? And then she sees a related opportunity in operations in a very valuable company that could give her challenging work. I will advise she doesn't say no to it, yeah, because eventually one road does not lead to the market, right? It's a very popular saying we have. One road does not lead to the market. So it means that is it valuable enough for me to change my direction? Yes, it's valuable enough. Then I can change my direction towards that. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. I think I really overshot my time, right? But then it's been a good one with us. Happy to answer any questions that we may have.
Thank you so much. That was good. So if everybody can just virtual claps and hearts. That was a great presentation. I personally also learned some things. So thank you so much, Adebayo. We can get to the Q&As, and I think actually, Mukhtar, you already have a question. Would you like to say it virtually or live? Or I can ask the question. All right, so the question is, what opportunities or support can be provided to help participants strengthen their professional skills, build meaningful networks, and advance their careers in the creative industry?
Is that question for me?
Yeah.
Let me see. What opportunities or support can be given strengthen their professional skills?
We can both answer it if it helps.
Yeah. Please, if you could lead, if you have some insight on that,
Sure.
Ellen.
I think if you're already in the creative industry and you're looking for opportunities, there's actually a lot of them, right? Maybe your network just isn't leading to them, and so you don't know about them. My recommendation would be like, reach out to us for one, right? Follow us on social media because we'll be posting, opportunities, jobs, funding opportunities, job opportunities, things like that. Also, connect back to your university. A lot of people, once they graduate from their universities, they don't really reach back to ask about what opportunities are there. So reach back to your university and say, hey, this is what I'm working on. How can the school support me? Also ask the school, what are opportunities for what networks exist? What alumni are in our community that I can reach out to? If you don't have a wide international marketplace, I always say start where you are. So if you went to school, whether it's a high school that's very, community driven, or university or college that's very community driven, go start there and say, hey, this is what I'm working. Always share what you're working on. This is what I'm working on. This is what I want to learn. This is where I want to grow. This is what I want to build. I'm looking for X, Y, and Z opportunity. Maybe it's a job. Maybe it's a learning experience. Maybe it's connection to people. And then that will lead you to new networks, right? The other thing is online research. Hey, I am looking for X, Y, and Z opportunities. Use your AI, be very specific. You can go to Claude and say, I live in X, Y, and Z country, community, city. I am working on X, Y, and Z. The challenge that I am having is finding opportunities. I am looking for, so prompting is important. Prompt it, and it will start opening up new doors, new foundations you can learn about. The other thing is just like go on LinkedIn, like Adebayo said earlier, use your LinkedIn. I think it's such a undervalued platform. Use your LinkedIn and just type in creative funding for Africa. Type in mentorship for Africa. Like type these things in, it will show you organizations that have that link to them or people that have that link to them. So hopefully that was helpful. Adebayo, if you have other thoughts as well.
Yeah, that was generally definitely helpful, right? And I think as you were talking, I remembered there was a life that I was a photographer. Yeah. Uh, where I actually was a photographer. Actually had a camera. I was doing portrait and event photography then. And I think a lot of like the opportunities I got then was within my network or similar people that were doing the same thing that I was doing. Yeah. And I said this to say that I don't know how fit you are, but if you can expand and I think something I mentioned also was expand your network of peers, yeah, that are doing the same thing that you are doing. They will likely open you to similar opportunities, either opportunities in a fellowship, in jobs, or similar. Because at times when I was doing photography there, I could have my own personal jobs and I will invite my friends to come on board, you understand, because I needed an additional hand, yeah. Or at times another job will come that I did not have space for, and I'll just extend the opportunity to them, right? And in between all those, it's also this space where we could also share training opportunities with each other and also like fellowship opportunities, right? So it's important, and I think that's the bit I wanted to add to expand your reach of your peers that you have. Don't be afraid or ashamed to tell them, I need opportunities. You understand, right? It's something that we think if you tell people you are looking for a job is a shame. Please, there's no shame in how you put food on your table. Yeah, that's what I wanted to add. Thank you so much.
Great. Bryson, I responded in message, but we have 2 tours, entertainment tours. We have one in November that's coming to Kenya, and it'll go across Kenya from Nairobi all the way to Masai Mara and back. And then we have a second one that's happening in Ethiopia and Kenya. So it's a 2-part trip, and that's in December. If you put your email on here, then we can send you all of the details like dates, location, everything. All right. Okay, so let's get back to, okay, great. Thank you. Oh, got it. Sounds more like a space for individuals in America. Is there something for science? Yes, this question is really Tiny. Can you ask that question live just so I can understand? Are you saying this is just for entertainment creatives?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I just wanted to understand if maybe there are opportunities for people maybe in science and tech, because what I got from this entire presentation was mainly in the entertainment or the creative space. I just wanted to know if there's something for people like us.
Yeah, so thank you for asking that. That's a great question. So the LEA sessions, right? These sessions, these speaker sessions are industry agnostic, actually. So whether you are tech, whether you are in any other sector, it's really meant to help you understand the HR and career side of it, right? That's why we bring people like Adebayo. He's not in creative industry. He's actually on the tech side, right? Startups, tech, that industry. So, and then our next speaker, Elizabeth, she's on the director of people side, but she's also in the creative marketing side of it. But someone after that is general hiring. So we bring people regardless of industry. So there's that opportunity to just learn. Like for us, it's about just helping people understand what does it take to build a successful career? What do people on the HR, talents, operations, people side internally look for? How can they share the skill sets that they have with you? If you're asking specifically about the LEA program, the LEA program is technically meant for creative industry, but now here's the catch. We focus on the business side. So if you're on the tech side or in the science side and you're looking to address something, you could still apply, right? Because we still also connect you to business. So if you're looking to connect to somebody in operations, if you're looking to connect to a researcher, right? Because to me, research and R&D is also part of business, it's also part of creative industry. So I'd encourage you to apply. We are looking to support that community of creatives, but we're not opposed to great applications and great connections, because from the business side, all things fall in. Okay. Hopefully that answers your question. Tiny, did that answer your question? Yep. Okay, got it. Jemiah, I think Jamia, actually, you had your hand raised. Go ahead and ask your question.
Oh, thank you so much. So I just had a question. In the introduction, you're giving us basically the different parts of LEA and the different pathways. So I just had a question. After each pathway, can we change and move into like a different pathway? For example, if I started mentorship, after the mentorship program, can I go into internship, into shadowing, or how does that essentially work?
So in the beginning, we match you with a specific piece of it or a specific individual, right? Now, if like, let's say you did a great job in your mentorship and then an opportunity comes up where we're like, hey, you know what? And you say, hey, I'm really interested in internship, but your review or your mentorship was great. We're open to placing you into a mentorship as long as the opportunity is there, right? Because we also have to recruit for the institutions that host you. So if you let us know, we'll do our best. That's all I can promise. I can't say that we guarantee anything. What we guarantee is for those who are competitive and their application makes it through, then yeah, we'll definitely place you into what it is that you asked for. Now, the secondary, we'll probably create a second. Mind you, this is a pilot, so we'll also create a secondary for those who are maybe alumni and have gone through at least one part of it. And then if you say, hey, I only did a mentorship or only did a shadowing, because those are a little shorter time frame, and I'm really looking for an internship in like 2027, then we could place you back into the pool and find you something. That's all I can start with. Okay. Anybody have a question around your career? Yes, finance, there's always finance because finance is part of the business side. So yes, if you apply ORWA around finance, then we will see if we can place you somewhere with maybe an investor who looks at who looks at investing in creative industry. Any questions around your careers or where you are in your, I'd love to hear a few people tell us where they are in their careers and what challenges you're having. And I think you have an expert at the table, so he can help you pivot or figure out what gap or challenge, what solutions he can help you with. So for this part, I would recommend that you're welcome. Any questions or anybody want to share where they are in their career? Is anybody pivoting in their career? Well, I think maybe Adebayo, it might be helpful for me. You talk about pivots, right? Because we're both in an interesting space of pivot. So myself and Bio actually did a program, right? This is the part of constant learning. We did a program together called Dream VC. It was extremely intensive, and like extremely intensive, right? So we already work full time, right? And probably more than full time. And we're more, I would say, in the senior level positions. And so everybody in our cohort is usually senior level. And so we did this program because both of us are very interested in the funding side of it, the venture side. Everybody takes it on from a different experience. But to the point about what he was saying around networking, us having to do that program allowed us to build relationships with people where we can start making calls. So it wasn't hard for me to WhatsApp Adebayo and say, hey, I'm doing this thing. Would you, make some time for coming on here? And he didn't say, oh, no, let me look at my schedule. He just said, what dates? Okay. So I think pivoting is an interesting thing because even if you're young or if you're mid-professional or even in your senior level and you want to pivot, that's a big part of it. Is anybody pivoting in their career or wants to pivot in their career? Or anybody dealing with any career issues? Or have a question around how do they hire the companies he's worked for?
It'd be great to hear. Anyone? Yeah. Someone was about to
Somebody,
talk.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to agree and say I'd love to hear about pivoting, just because I graduated like a year ago, and I'm in the process of sort of like reorganizing how I want to position myself. I know that I'm it's sort of pivoting, but it's more just like understanding how at this moment with where I'm at and what I'm doing, I can best showcase like I'd say the point I'm at in my career, if that makes sense. But it's about pivoting. So I'd love to hear from you both or from Adebayo on the advice you guys have.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I understood you well. Ailey, if you can you please help come back with your question? Is that fine?
Yeah, so it was just the idea of how I think it essentially is how do you position yourself um, when you are in the process of pivoting. Like for example, if you're on LinkedIn and maybe you were talking about certain content before, but now you're kind of switching into something else, it doesn't feel as seamless, when you're moving from that thing to another thing, or when people are looking at your jobs, it's like, oh, gone from this thing to this thing. These are very different industries and they might be connected by your role or where you're at just in your career. But yeah, I think it's just understanding how to make that transition. I wouldn't even say look, but yeah, how you can properly make that transition and do it successfully.
Yeah, cool. And I think I could add one, putting one on two. Yeah. First of all, pivoting or transitioning is not an easy thing. Yeah. It doesn't drop on your laps. It's not easy. And I think generally the easiest way to pivot jobs, like job careers, yeah, is within a company. So for instance, if within a company I'm moving from operations to finance, yeah, it's easier if I'm still within that particular company, right? But if I'm now moving from my typical operations career, yeah, I'm moving to finance in another company, yeah, it's harder. You understand? Because I don't have proof yet, like at least external proof enough to show that I can actually do this. And I think what some people choose to do, and I think maybe it helps them, is to start creating content, you understand, as the case may be within within those particular spaces. But I think what could help in pivoting is to see it's also a touchy subject because at what point in your career do you want to pivot, right? Pivot, because pivoting might mean that you might need to start from entry level, yeah, or mid-level when you are already in a senior level, yeah, within your career, yeah. So, but I think what I've seen possible is a lot of people that make pivots successfully is through their network. You understand, right? Where first of all is that you've already had some, for instance, the person moving from operations to finance, yeah, at the minimal level, they should have a finance certification. Yeah, that's at the minimal level. Let's say you are moving from music to video or yeah, or whichever instance. At the minimal level, you have the minimal knowledge, you understand, of the skill sets, what it takes to thrive within that space. Yeah. And you should have a sort of portfolio. You understand, for instance, now, people that people that before were non-technical and are trying to build up an engineering career, what they do is to have a portfolio, build side projects, you understand, of what they can do or so. So that is enough proof, at least, to show that I've not done this job before, but I've done this project related to that job before that shows that I can do that job. Yeah. And through those particular instances, it will now take a lot. That is why you will now need not to just apply through the typical knocking of the door, through the typical application door. It will now take a lot of maybe cold emailing people, code messaging people, reaching out to message people within your network that can help you actually pivot well and open that door of pivot for you, right? But then what you are building the pivot on is very important. The minimal skill sets, first of all, and then the portfolio or the lookalike project in that space. And then you can show proof that, okay, I've not done this job, but with this proof, I can do this job. Yeah. I think that's a good one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I will say though, the pivot is a little funny because if you're early professional, Adebayo said something. You can't start off just as a generalist, right? Because then people don't know that you have any specific skill. So we're pivoting more towards later careers, right? Like we've both been in industry 10 years plus. We've both started from internships, have worked in managerial roles and director roles. And now we're kind of pivoting, but the pivot still is in alignment with what we've done 10 years ago in some way. For Adebayo, he's pivoting towards venture, right? Instead of working in tech, he wants to stay in HR and talent for venture versus myself. I want to focus more on funds, right? But for 10 years, I have always worked for 7 years at least, I have worked with fund managers to get them to different markets. So so you have to be careful about pivots because you don't want your resume and your skill sets to look like you're doing a bunch of anything. So, right? So making sure that people can recognize you and say, "Oh, I have that problem. Kyla is the one that I need to call," right? Because that opens the pivot faster. Then you can compete in programs. The program we were in is really, really competitive. Like the amount of applications that they get a year is ridiculous, right? And we still made it. But it's because our experience and our years of work is what helped us stand out. So being intentional about your pivot and making sure that your pivot somehow connects back to what you're doing. And sometimes you just want to do all new, brand new pivot, but there's still a story in your old life that can help you scale in your new life. So just, make sure that there's a thread that's constantly being built in, right? And I'm happy to just talk about this offline if you ever need to, because I have pivoted a lot actually, interestingly. So any other questions we have? Like, I know we're over 30 minutes. Thank you to Adebayo. This was great. If there is any pressing questions, I think I've answered everything else in the chat. If you guys have, okay. If you guys have any questions, you can always email us at ndotaamara@f3global.co. You probably will get an email. You will get an email from us after this with Adebayo's presentation, if that's okay. Adebayo? Okay, with Adebayo's presentation, our presentation, and then once the video is uploaded to YouTube, we'll send you a copy of it so you can watch it again. if I was someone sitting in this room and I'm trying to work on my career, the first thing after this call I would do is find Adebayo on LinkedIn and connect and say, hey, Adebayo, thank you so much for taking time to get on the call today. I appreciate it. I learned, and give him one thing you learned. And then the second thing, if you are looking to work on your career or something, or you want a connection or you're interested, ask him, hey, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z jobs. Are there any recruiting companies, hiring companies that I can start monitoring or paying attention to, right? That's very specific. You showcased where you connected with him. The likelihood of him responding is at 110%. Just saying. That's what I would do. Okay. If no other questions, thank you guys again for joining us and staying the whole time. And thank you, Adebayo, for joining this call. I think this was helpful, and I see that the message says everybody thought this was helpful as well. We will have our next one. It'll be on the 27th. We have a very lovely woman who will be coming in from WPP Scan Group. She is the director of Peoples. I think if Elizabeth's still here, she might have joined us today, actually, just listen in. Yep, it's Liz Kabobu.
I'm here.
Hi,
Hi.
Liz. Yay. So this is our next speaker. She's actually on retreat and she still decided to join us. So that's great. And if you don't know what the company is, it's one of the biggest international marketing companies for creatives. Okay, they manage TikTok, they manage accounts for all of the biggest corporations in the world. She is the director of Peoples. She has worked all over the continent and everywhere in the world. And I definitely think you want to show up for the next session just as well. So my recommendation is you guys keep following, we'll keep sharing what we're doing. And our goal is always to see how we can support you and help you. A high recommendation. If we don't respond to you the first time, please send a second email. We will definitely get back to you on the second email. Just because sometimes when you're sending emails, it might go to spam or something like that. But yeah, we're available, and you can always message any of our socials. We are on Pilot Take It. Where are we on social media wise?
We are on TikTok. We will be on Substack next week. We're mostly on IG, and we're also on LinkedIn. So make sure to follow us. I can add it into the chat, but it's at Ndoto Amara, lowercase letters, one word. But I'm gonna add the chat for you guys.
And we're going to try and do a really good job with our Substack. So we actually share jobs on there, right? We're going to, and not just jobs from us, just jobs across the market and our industry, in the networks, even jobs in finance and in other places that we think might be interesting. We'll also find opportunities for funding if you're working on a project. So we're going to try to stack it so you get as many like opportunities on there that you can apply directly for. So follow us on Substack once that's on there. And if you have any questions, again, it's always going to be Ndota Amara at f3global.co. And if you have any questions, our mailbox is open. Thank you again. Thanks, Adebayo. Thank you to the team. And thank you all for staying this long. And next up is Liz. We'll see her in 2 weeks on the 27th. Put that on your calendars. All right. Thank you all. Have a good one.